Welcome to the Living Life Juicy podcast, where we explore how we can be present and kind as we do great things. I'm your host and guide, John Losey. If you're curious about other stuff that we're doing, I've got the Growing People podcast and YouTube channel where you can get resources if you're curious about how people learn and grow and you want maybe some explainer videos to introduce a concept. There you can download stuff and use those resources. That's Growing People podcast YouTube channel. Also, all this is part of the Into Wisdom group, and you go to intowisdomgroup.com to find out more about all of our services there. Be sure to do all the stuff you're supposed to do at podcasts and YouTube channels by commenting, liking, subscribing, spread the word. If you want to introduce people to other interesting people, that's what the Living Life Juicy is all about. And today, Renee Delgado is returning after an amazing conversation in our last episode. But this is, again, what I give the microphone over to Renee, and she takes over and asks me 3 questions. Now, if you haven't listened to the last episode, know that Renee is an amazing local business person and realty, came from a background of starting stuff up. She's got a book out. Check it out in the notes. There'll be a link to where you can get the book. She's also just incredibly involved in the community, but I'm curious about what she's curious about. So Renee, let's take a couple of minutes and I want you to ask me any questions that you want.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on again. All right. First question. What has been your biggest challenge, your greatest challenge in being a solopreneur or entrepreneur?
Yeah. The biggest challenge, gosh, I think, and this goes into my recent story, which is I don't like marketing. And so when I first started, I had some really great clients and it was really, really successful. And then I forgot to continue marketing. And then over the pandemic, there was huge attrition. And for some of my clients, it was a matter of the consulting that I did with them, got them the data they needed to realize they needed to renege on their vendor contracts. And I totally, like, when they cut me off, it was like, that's the advice I gave you, so go with it. And but because I hadn't been doing my marketing, I didn't have anything to backfill that in. So I think the biggest challenge for me has been that marketing piece. And because of what I consult around, it's basically all the stuff that's not marketing or finance. And that's where my weakest part of my business are, those 2 areas. I can come in and help with organizational development, with professional and personal development. I can come and help people create great ideas from inception all the way to evaluation after it's been implemented. But again, I'm learning of the need to continue to, always be closing and to put the work in before anything falls in your lap, because you can't count on that. So that's, I guess, my biggest challenge as a solopreneur is, well, and I'm pretty good at this, is keeping connected with people. There's the relationship piece, knowing that you don't have to stand alone. That's a big challenge for most. I'm pretty good at that. What I'm not good is what most entrepreneurs are good at, which is the marketing side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And describe your absolute dream company or client to work with.
Yeah, I think the ones that I'm best at and that I enjoy are the ones that realize either they're facing a challenge, they're in a challenge or a transition, and not the ones who are like, come to me kicking and screaming. Most of the time, the best clients I have are the ones that they didn't know they need help.
Sure.
I think that's like the ones I enjoy most. I really like helping figure stuff out. And that's why I think I've always dreamed of being an Imagineer, but that name's taken. And working with a large corporation, again, probably isn't my gig. But I would love to be able to come alongside organizations, small, medium-sized organizations or departments that really either know they're facing a challenge and need some clarity, or want to go from start to finish if it's a developing new product or expanding a business or things like that, and just work from beginning to end and offer either my own consulting around that, but also like being able to pull in my friends who are experts. And I think I can assemble pretty great teams we'll call them now, for lack of a better term, and hope the mouse doesn't come after me, but an Imagineering team, an outsourced Imagineering team for almost any industry because of the network that I have. So I think that my dream expansion of my current business would be that outsourced beginning to end innovation consulting.
Okay, great. Third question, I guess, will be, let's see. If someone was coming to you and saying, John, I'm sick of my 40, 50, 60 hour a week work schedule. I'm sick of working for a big company and I want to go out on my own. What is the best piece of advice you would possibly give them? One piece.
Yeah, that's like if stepping out of the corporate world into the business world, and it's not like that doesn't mean they're entrepreneurs by stepping out. They might just want to control their own destiny and do a single startup and hate the entrepreneurial aspect, but love the running aspect of it. But the first thing I would say is take a step back. And this is what I've done with a lot of people in transition is basically start with your purpose and your mission. And outside, this is your personal purpose and your personal mission. And ask yourself, there's an exercise you can do called the 8-word purpose statement. And what you do is it's a format where you give a verb, a subject, or like an audience, and then you have your outcomes. And you try and get that statement, refine it down, simplify it down to 8 words about why you exist. It's start with why. It's that purpose. And if you can get that down for yourself and then the next thing you do is you do it for your business, whatever you want to start, but first do it for yourself. And now the next step would be, that's your purpose. Mission, and there's lots of different definitions. For me, mission is basically just a business description. It's what you want to do. This is what I can do. This is what I offer. And purpose is grandiose and it pulls you into the future. Mission is what helps scope creep. You know what you're about and you know what you're not about. With those two things, then you ask yourself, can I find that in my current job? If I can't, then you ask yourself, what's the cost of starting my own business? Do I have that? I would never say quit immediately, unless it's a totally moral decrepit organization that's breaking the law. It's like separate as soon as you can so you don't get wrapped up. Rarely is that the case. But 8-word purpose statement, get your mission, and then take a look about, can I stay? If you can't, then you start asking yourself, and this is another exercise I have people do, write down all the things that you're passionate about. What do you love? And it's not just about your job, it's everything. And then you write, what have people told you that you're good at? That's your talents. You have your passion, you have your talents, and then you have what I call utility. What can I get paid for? And you do, 10-minute brainstorm for 3 days. The fourth day, you do a VIN and you look at all the things that fall into that overlap. And that'll give you, now with AI, you can take those contexts and you put those in and say, what business do these qualities best fit? Mm-hmm. And you can use a couple of different AIs and do that. That tells you either start a business or search for a role or find a franchise. And then if whatever they end up, then I would say, here's some resources I have, either people to go to or whatever. So that's, if somebody is looking for their next best thing, and I'd say, don't wait until you're burned out, until you're dropping dead. Those are the things everybody should ask themselves, why they exist and what they're about.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. Great answer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Very fun. Great questions. And very much from the, the person who has a book about startups is what you'd expect. I'm curious, and normally I don't do this, but I want you to talk about the book a little bit, because those are the type of questions that you would ask anybody who's going to start up.
Sure.
I especially that last one. What do you say to that person, that corporate animal who's done?
I mean, I would make sure that they understand that there is no guaranteed paycheck. Because that's a big one to go from realizing that, oh, I have to create my business myself. So, you know, I like you, I tell people to look within and see if they're willing to put in the time that it's going to take to actually get their own business and actually do what they need to do to market, network, all of that. And then if not, then it's okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, just like you said, what else is there out there? Maybe you don't like your current job, but there's, you know, there are other opportunities.
I guess what I would say first is don't quit your job until you've got another gig lined up.
Right, exactly. That's always a good good.
Well, thank you so much for 3 wonderful questions.
Thank you.
And I'm excited about, well, first of all, if you're, one of the great things is you've got people out there, if you're thinking about doing a startup, check out the workbook that Renee has. I'll put a link in the notes, and reach out, and any real estate needs in the Southern Ventura County area. What is the area that you specialize in?
San Fernando Valley and all of Ventura County. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So get the book, get the house, and thank you very much for spending time with me.
Thank you so much, John.